I have known people who have anxiety and still do, as well as myself, who's had anxiety like a bit growing up. Um, I don't know whether it stems from like certain. Do I need to look right in the camera? I don't know like whether it stemmed from like how I grew up and like never having like a solid support system. Like I mean, my parents obviously, but like like I grew up and I always had to fix something about myself. So I was always either I had braces and then I had to wear a back brace, and I feel like sometimes that really increased how I felt people judged me a lot. And so I find that my anxiety is rooted in people judging me. And when it gets bad, I just feel like everybody's eyes are on me always, and they're just judging me in the most negative way, and it used to prevent me from like leaving the house sometimes. And so it's taken a lot of like growing mentally to like get over it in a sense.
So today, our goal is to understand, first of all, that anxiety is perpetual and it's installed very early in life. There's a theorist who comes out of the marriage and family literature. He's passed on now, but his name was Murray Bowen. And he gets credit for what we call intergenerational marriage and family therapy, or Bowenian therapy. And his claim to fame is really centered around anxiety.
Is it rolling?
Yeah.
Okay. So, do I start from?
No, go on.
So I think in today's society, anxiety seems to be a seed planted in people's heads that, they kind of grasp onto and think that that is the reason that they can't do certain things. And I don't think that's the case. I feel like anxiety is just an obstacle that you may need to overcome, and that it's not something that should prevent you from doing things that you want to do or having experiences in your life or accomplishing your goals just because of this setback. And that's essentially what it is. And I feel like people blow it out of proportion and make it this huge thing that it really isn't. And they end up giving it so much power because of this seed that is planted in their heads. And I think with today's society, like in the media, on social media, friends, like the discussion about mental health is great, I think. But the problem with it is that there's too much focus on it and not enough focus on, okay, how do we overcome that? We understand the problems. We understand that everyone's going through shit. Everyone was always going through shit. And yes, people are talking about it now, but what about the other side of the glass? What about, okay, this is what we're going to do to make it better. This is what we're going to do to make sure that people feel safe and comfortable and are still able to carry on with their lives, instead of just grasping onto this thing that they call anxiety and say, I have anxiety, so I can't do anything. I have anxiety, so I can't talk to people, and, make it this ordeal. And obviously, in some cases, it does become uncontrollable. And that's when, you might need professional help and you might need extra support. But it really
So kind of like prevents you from doing like basic things. Once you get out of the house, like it's this idea that when you're sitting in a classroom and like you want to get up and you want to leave the classroom, you are literally like tied down to your chair, because the thought of getting up and disrupting the class and imagining people's judgment of you for getting up in the middle of a lecture is just so overwhelming. And that was probably like my first 2 years of university. And like it's just this idea that you would give anything to do things for other people so they wouldn't judge you. And it's just like not a fun way to live, because like you're completely ignoring your own sense of identity and what you want to do just to make other people happy, because you're so anxious about what would happen if they were to judge you. And it's not a fun time. And I think I finally got out of it. Like it was really bad at the first couple years of university, but I think that kind of makes sense, because it's your first time being away from your parents and away from your support system, and you're surrounded in this new city of people that you don't know, and you want to make a good impression, and you're this anxious person that doesn't want to go out. Like what are you gonna do, right? And so I think it was around like maybe the beginning of third year, midway through third year of my university career, that all of a sudden, I really can't tell you what changed, but I woke up and I got to campus on September the 3rd, or whenever classes start, and was like, this year is going to be different. And I haven't really gone back on my anxiety since then, which is like a good thing. And I've like worked on becoming like more body positive.
Especially in today's society, and it's a generational thing too. Like, I think before, because there was more of a lack of like getting help and stuff, it kind of forced people to get out of their comfort zone and try and figure this thing out on their own. And that's kind of what, enabled them to do more things. But now, if people are using it as a crutch, like, that's actually going to prevent you from doing things. And it's your mindset that is going to prevent you from doing something, not necessarily the anxiety itself. It's kind of a placebo effect in some cases. That's what I think. I do experience anxiety. It's definitely controllable for me. So that's why I'm trying not to, I'm trying to put it into the perspective of like, different people. Like if someone has a lot of anxiety, like I don't know what that feels like, except for maybe when I get stage fright, or if I have to make a really important phone call or something, or if I'm going into an interview and I start blanking, or I kind of just get the typical anxiety that I would assume everyone does, like with exams, with midterms, with, like I said, phone call, stage fright, whatever. But I don't really experience it on a daily basis to the point where I feel like it prevents me from doing things. So
I have a couple friends who have anxiety as well. A couple of them actually. One of them who's grown out of it like I have. And then I have one friend who takes medication for it. And sometimes she's kind of the same as me, but she's the same age, but she has trouble leaving the house as well. And she doesn't want to go do things, and she has a really tough time with decision making. And I kind of see my past self in her a little bit as well, because I remember being just like that. And I mean, hers is a little bit more severe, right? She takes medication for it, and so I try to encourage her as much as I can, because I know exactly what it feels like to be in that state. But I think she's working on it, and she's. It's definitely interesting seeing like an even worse side of it. Like mine wasn't clinically diagnosed, and hers is, and she goes to therapy, and sometimes I think I should go to therapy. And it's tough having anxiety in today's world too, I find, with this. You just want to be able to like support them and do the best you can as their support team. And and yeah, because like I don't know,